Clara here, nice of you to join me. On today's video we are going to be making the pages up that are going to go into our portrait style album. Now in the previous video, if you want to go back and watch that, I'll put the link up there that shows you how I made the actual bones of our album. So head back there and you'll be able to catch up on what we've done so far. So we've made the, as I say, we've done the outside book of our memory book. Now, as I said in the previous video, I've actually made up three of my pages already. So although I'm only going to be making one with you guys on the video, you need to then make the three of them again. Now I did that for quickness for one, and because all the pages are the same. So I'm using at the moment the cream card stock. Now although I've made all mine out of black cardstock, to try and show use black when you're on a video, you can't see what I'm doing. So that's why I swapped to the cream, to help you guys to be able to see what I was doing. So let's get on with our video. Now I need to get my measurements, so I've got them at the side here. You'll need your trimmer, and I'm going to just move these books out the way like so. So you'll need a trimmer. And you will need your scoreboard, okay? So for the pages, oh, and of course you will need cardstock. Let me find mine out. Okay, we've got a few sheets here. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut all our elements out first, and then we will then start to assemble. So now what I would suggest is that you use a post-it note and just write on what they are, and then that way you're going to know when you come to put them together. Are 4.5 by 5.5. So 4.5 by 5.5. Okay, and then just use your sticky note on there and write what it is that you've done. So if I show you, this is what we're going to do in picture form. So this is my sheet of paper, and these are going to be our score lines. And that is the 4.5 by 5.5. Okay, I work in pictures, so I know what I'm doing. The next one we're going to cut out is 5.5 by 3.25. So 5.5. I don't think that's, no. So 5.5 by 3.25. By 3.25, like so. So 5.5 by 3.25. Okay, put them over there. Then the next one is 7.75 by 3.25. So another sheet of paper. So 7.75. Let me just undo mine. 7.75 by 3.75. Now you need to do this twice. So you need to cut these ones out twice. Well, you actually need to cut it out 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, if you just cut it out twice, because that's what we're doing with the card. So cut this one out twice. So that then is my 7 3/4 by 3 1/4. Just so that I can remember what I'm doing. So they go there. So the next one we can cut is 3 1/4 by 6 1/2. So 3 1/4 by 6 1/2. So 6 1/2 by 3 1/4, and there we go. And then the next one, I think that's all of them. And the next one will be 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. So 3 3/4. Don't think that was very straight, was it? No, try a different. So 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, so that was then the last one. So 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, on there like so. So that's it then. We don't need then your trimmer for a little while, so that can go away, and then you can swap it out for your scoreboard. I'm just going to move all these odd bits out of the way. So bring in your elements. Now I'm just going to put them back in that order. So, taking your 4 1/2 by 5 1/2, you're going to butt it up to, so the 4 1/2 side is going to go up to the top of your scoreboard, and then the 5 1/2 is obviously at the side here. So you're going to score this at 1/2 and then 5 eighths. So that's 1/2 and 5 eighths. So you create a little channel, okay, and then turn it over and do the opposite side again at 1/2 and at 5 eighths. Okay, so if you just bend them over and just crease those score lines, just to make them a bit more so that they're scored, creased over. Okay, and do the other side. And that one, like so. Then you kind of create sort of a little, it's going to be a pocket, okay. So we need to put our double-sided tape along these edges here. So I'm going to just swap out to the 1/4 inch, if I can find where I put it. There we go. Okay, and just put it onto your tabs, like so. leave a little gap so that you haven't put your tape right up to the edge here, because you don't want any of that, the sticky tape to show through, because it does look a bit unsightly if you get that edge showing. So burnish them down so that then they've got no air bubbles in. That then helps them to stick. And then make sure that you've got now that curve sort of straight. Okay, so a bit sort of like that. Then taking the 5.5 by 3 1/4, we're going to place this over the top. This is going to become our backing. Okay, now normally what I would suggest you to do would be to cut your, and you could do that actually, we can cut them, but don't cut an awful lot off, just sort of the bare minimum, just to get rid of that corner. Okay, like so. And this one like so. So it's just the bare minimum. Taking off the double-sided tape, the backing. I've taken it off one side, and how I'm going to place this is, right, I'm going to, hopefully this will work, making sure that this fold here is kind of level. Okay, so where when I say level, it's sort of, you don't put your card on and it's like that. Okay, put it on so that it's quite straight. And how I do that is I kind of push the sides in just tiny bit, and then I just place one side on like so and push it down. Okay, now I'm just going to turn that over, and I'm going to just give that a good smooth out. Okay, and then do the same with the other side. And again, I'm just going to push them so that this card then really does sit on the edge. Okay, like so. Okay, so that near enough is the basis of our book. Okay, so we've got something that looks a little bit like that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to then create the tabs or our photo mats that are in the book. So that was these ones here. So this was the longest ones. This was your 7 3/4. Sorry, 7 3/4. Where did I get that from? 7 3/4 by 3 1/4. Okay, and you're going to score this. Okay, so score each one with the long side along the top of your scoreboard, and then the shorter edge down the side. And you're going to score these at 2, okay, and 1/4. Okay, so you've created a quarter inch allowance. Okay, let's finish that down. Push them over and do the same, and then that creates sort of your allowance. Do the same with the other one. So again at 2 and 1/4. So that's what we've sort of created. Okay, you can see my score lines there. So we will round the edges and that when we come to decorating it. So that's that sort of part. So next we now need to make the pocket that's on the back of our book, and that's where we bring this one in here. It's 6.5 by 3 1/4. We'll get there in the end. Okay, now this needs to go with the long edge at the top and the short edge along the side. And we're going to score this at 1/2 inch. Turn it over and do the opposite short end also at 1/2 inch. Okay, fold that over, and then that is going to become our pocket for the back of our book. Okay, like so. Last thing we've got, so we've got one more left, and then this is going to be our pocket flap. So we need to put this down with the short edges along the top and then the long edge along the side, and we're going to score this at 1/2 inch and at 5/8. Okay, so 1/2 inch by 5/8, so that you create that, there we go, small channel, and then just fold them over so that they crease, those score lines get nice and creased. Fold over. Okay. Because they're so small, you just need to be a little bit gentle with them. Okay, like so. And then that then is the flap. So we've now created all the elements for our page, and I know this seems to be an awful lot, but it will be worth it in the end, I promise. Going back to the first element we did, the one that has got the hole either end. So we're going to put on our flap that goes on the back, like so. Okay, so that is going to hide that extra piece. So we're going to cut down the corners on this. Again, not huge amount, just a tiny bit. Okay, like so. And then we're going to put our double-sided tape on the glue tabs on the outside, like so. Like so. Okay, take these off and take that off. Now, sticking one side down first, line it up with the edge. Okay, so line the folded edge of your pocket, the crease, up with the edge of your paper underneath. Do the same with the other side. Now if you need to, just stretch it over, okay, and then you will find it will stick. Okay, so then you should be ending up with a page that looks like that. So that's the pocket, and then that is the another pocket inside. So when we come to put our pages in, this is then going to become the mechanism that we use to slot over our hinges. Okay, the next part to our assembling our page, is the pocket flap. Now we're going to secure the pocket flap into the lip of that piece of the mechanism of the pocket that's on the back. So you'll end up with two fat widths, and then you've got this hole in the middle. Okay, so we're going to hide the glue tab in that pocket. So you will need to put your double-sided tape onto the inside of your glue tab. Okay, so let's put these in. Remember to corner your edges. Okay, and then we're just going to slip this in, okay, and just very gently ease it down. Okay, so it goes in. If you find that yours is taking a bit of time to to get in, you might need to just trim off an extra little tiny bit of your corner. okay, just so that it can fit in. So let's get it around the right way and then push it in and line it up then with the first score mark that you've done. Push it down and then just push it together, okay, and then you'll find that that will stick in. Okay, so that there is basically near enough our pocket. Now these then fit into our hole, into our little secret hole there, and then they fit. That's how they go in, like that. So that then is our pocket, our page pocket already done. So although there seems to be a lot of steps to that, it does come together really quickly. So now we need to decorate it. So I'm going to round my corners. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can keep them as they are. On this one I used the 1/2 inch rounder, so it just gives a more of a 1/2 inch round, whereas this one, sometimes I use the 1/4 inch one. It depends on what you're looking for. So just to keep in with the same thing, I'm going to use the 1/2 inch, and I'm going to round all those corners on our pull-out photo mats. Okay, like that. And also going to round the edges of the pocket flap. Okay, now you could also make up, which we'll do after we've decorated it, would be the photo mat that goes into our little pocket there. Okay, we'll do that one in a second. So I'm not going to put them in yet because they need to stay out, because we're going to cover them now. So whatever pattern paper that you're using, if you want to get it out, then we can then do our cuts. So put that over there. So bring your trimmer back in and your pattern paper. Now I'm using this one is also a Crafter's Companion, but I wanted to keep it very much the same sort of style. So, but this is the Lilacs and Blues one. Again, it's a lovely paper. It's exactly the same as the one that I've used previously. It's just the colour. This is the Blues and Lilacs, where the other one was Peaches and Pinks. Now we're going to cut the cardstock that goes on the front here. Okay, so the pattern paper measurements are this. So we want this at 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, 5 3/8. Okay. So you could also cut out the one for the other side, so you've got this side as well. So this one would be exactly the same. So it would be your 5 3/8 by 3 1/8. So I think that's my 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. Sorry, yes, 5 3/8. So that then is my 2 pieces for the bases of my page. Now if you were going to ink your edges, I would either ink them now or ink them last. Now with this one here on the black, I used a black, but because I've got a cream one, I think I might go with brown. I think that might look quite nice on this one. So let me just get my brown out. So I'm just going to use a Distress an archival, because it's what I've got available, what I've got near to hand, and just then ink your edges. Oop. And then once you've inked them, you can then go ahead and lost in thought there. Yeah, once you've inked them, you can go ahead and stick these on. You know, I'm going to have to go away and make now 3 new pages too, because I've now made this one in cream. So I might have to end up making another one. Come on, can't. Oh, come on, out you come. There we go. There we are. Okay, then you can stick this down like so. There we are. Turn it over and do the other one. And that goes on the inside. So that's on the inside, on the back of your page. Okay, like so. Oops. Good job, that's going to be covered, isn't it? Okay, so that then is that done. So now we can go on to our photo mats that come in and out, and these you're going to cut down. So I'm going to so the main body, so this part here is 3 1/8, sorry, 3, get right now in a minute. So this one here, the longest one, is going to be 5 3/8 by 3 1/8. So you're going to need to cut out 4 because you've got 2 pages. So again, think about what paper you've got. I'm just going to use the back of this one. So I'm going to do the smallest measurement first, which was the 3 1/8. Like so. So 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, that's 1. 5 3/8. That's 2. Okay. So they are gonna. No, I think I've got that wrong. No, I haven't. I've got it right. So that then is going to be on the back of our tabs. Now I'm going to round these corners, but I'm only going to round 2 corners. So the 2 corners that are obviously going to be down here, that's what I've rounded. Okay. So again, get your distress inks. And it was this one I used. So that's 1. Okay, so that goes on there like so. Now you could do, if you didn't want to, you could do these afterwards and just use all your offcuts of paper. That would be a good thing. You could do that. So you could paper piece them if you wanted to. So you don't have to use big pieces of your patterned paper. Now I've done that on some of the others where I've paper pieced, and I've just put some plain white card in, so then if you want to do some journaling or you know, put a memory down of some sort. So again, let's put them on like so. Now these could be a bookmark, so you could make them as a bookmark, which would be quite nice. So with that done, we've now then got just the small pieces to do, and the small ones are 1 7/8 by 3 1/8. So I'm gonna, because my paper on the outside is quite plain, I'm gonna carry on using this side. So I want to do 1 7/8 by 3 1/8, and I'm going to need to do 4 of these. So 3 1/8 by 3 1/8, and then I've got one spare. Well, I need to do one more, and then I'm going to do the same thing, whereas I'm going to round my edges. So if you've got directional paper, make sure you round your edges on the correct corner. Ooh, there we go. Okay, that goes on there like so. And then just do the one underneath. I'm actually going to do, because that then is going to go in there like that, and then that's going to, it's quite a plain one, so I need one that's very similar. So I might not use that one, and I might just cut one more so that I've got this particular pattern on both sides. I mean, it doesn't matter if it doesn't match up, but I think it would look quite nice. So I'm going to put that one underneath, so round them edges there at the top. Do you know, weather-wise here, it's been a very strange day. Very strange with the weather. It's overcast. It's been raining. Then we've had a bit of wind. Then now it's got very hot and humid. I wish it'd make its mind up. So we've done one, but we're going to do these edges in between here as well, because I like to cover those sort of spines of our work. So I'm going to just cut this down to 1/8, but I'm going to use the whole page, because it gives me a better control, because it's such a small piece of paper that you're cutting. So that was at 1/8 by 3 1/8 long. Okay, so it's like that. Now I'm not going to bother inking these because it's only such a small sort of piece of paper. Okay. So just put some glue on and put that over the top. Hope you can see that. Okay, literally in there, down, there we go. So that's one side. So that's one done. So we just need to do the inside one of that. So again at 3 1/8. And oh, it's a bit fiddly because it's tiny, and you don't need an awful lot of glue on here. I've just dotted it and I'm just smoothing it out. Okay, let's get rid of that glue on my fingers and push that in there like so. There we go. And that up. There. So that's one of our little clips done. Oh, you know what I've done? Right. Please stop. Don't go any further. Okay, what I've actually forgot to do is I should have put my hole in now before I stuck this back page on. Now I will go back and tell you before I put this one on. Okay, again, that was my fault. I was getting a bit carried away. So before we put on the inside decorative paper panel, we need to put our holes in for our brad closures to go onto. So you will need a a circle punch. So I have a 1 inch, and I think the other one is a 3. I don't know where it's gone. I did have a 5/8 of an inch, but I don't know what I've done with it. So I'm just using a 1 inch and a 3/8 of an inch circle punches, and just then punch. Oh, not that. Oh, now because I've gone wrong, I've lost my train of thought. Right, so you need to then cut the 1 inch out of your circle punch. Yeah, your 1 inch, you need to cut 4 of your plain card. Add your glue. That's probably far too much. It will seep out the edge. Let's put that bit on there. So, and you're going to just stick 2 of these together, okay, like so. And again with this one, just stick 2 together, like so. Okay, then with your smaller punch, so with your your next size down, it doesn't have to be the same size as mine. We're just going to cut out 2 of these decorative papers. Okay, and then work out which side you're going to use, and then just put your glue on the back of your circle. Back of your circles. Okay, and then stick them on. Try and get them as in the middle as you can, like so. So that's 1, and then that's 2. Okay, like so. Right, let's take that out. Now I'm just using this is just a sanding block. It's a foam sanding block, just to punch my hole out. So you will need a ruler, and you will need to measure. Across is 5/8 of an inch. So put your pencil mark at that measurement. So from the bottom of your flap up to your 5/8 of an inch mark, just measure up 3/4 of an inch. And then that should give you be nice and central. Then push your hole, punch your hole in, get your brad. Oh, punch your hole in the centre here. I'm just going to bi-eye it, like so. And get your brad, push the brad through the one hole, and then through the next, over to the back. And that then is 1 closure. You can then go and put your pattern paper over the top. So there we go. So luckily I caught that before that started to dry. Okay, so that then is that one. So let's work on the next. So the next side. So we'll do the little tab first. So that will need that. So that needs to be, what did I say? 1 7/8 by 3 1/8 and 3 1/8. Okay, so that's 2. We're going to obviously use that one later. Get this up the right way. Okay, put my corner rounders on, like so. Ink the edges just very quickly. There we go. Glue. That goes on like so. Oh, down you go. Okay. Now I'm going to put on I'm going to put the hole in now. So it was at 5/8. So 1 5/8 by 3/4. Okay, by 3/4, about there. Punch my hole. Get the brad. And in that bit. And push down. There we go, to open the brads up. Then you can go ahead and cover this side here. So that's going to be, I'm going to have it that way, so that's looking up. Now notice I haven't inked the edges of my cream card. Now I don't particularly ink the edges of cream card because I tend to get too much in a mess. So that's why I never ink those edges. Okay. So that is the back. So then just the fronts and these ones, and this was 3/8 of an inch, like so, by 5 3/8, and again you'd want 2 of these if you are doing the same as me. 3-inch, and then just work out which way it's going to go. So mine's going to go that way. So corner and corner, edges, and glue. That way, like so. So that's one, and then the other side again, it's going to go that way. There we go. And then turn that up that way. This goes on like so. So then that is your photo mats that you pull out. That's them done. So the only thing we've now got to do is decorate the pocket flap. So decorate this here, and oh, I didn't do them on here, did I? So don't forget to do your 1 inch little tiny strip on there, along there. So it's 1 inch, sorry, not 1 inch, 1/8 of an inch by 3 1/8. Okay, so that then is your little, goes over that little tiny bit of spine. Okay, just get them glued, put them on. There we go. That's one. I think that one would be too small, so I need to just do another one. What's that one? So that gives me that. So 1/8 of an inch. Oh, so that's why when you use a small piece of card, it always seems to move. There we go. by 3/4 by 3 1/8, like so. Okay, push that down. Okay, so that then goes in like that. Oh, that's the wrong way. Goes in. So that then is your pockets. Okay. Oh, wrong way. Don't go that way. Get them the right way. Like so. Go on, in you go. And then you just need the pockets. Now the pocket flap is 3 by 5 3/8. So again, you'll just need 2 of those. So 3 by 5 3/8. 1, 2. Okay. So again, work out where it's going to go, and if you've got directional, then just be mindful of where you put your corners, because I'm only going to do 2. I'm only going to round 2 corners. Glue. And on here, like so. Turn it over. Now I haven't put any magnets on these. I didn't see the point because it was kind of flat anyway, but you could, if you wanted to, you could put a magnet on, or you could put a piece of ribbon through the hole here and then closing it that way. You could do that as well. I may do that just to show you in a moment. So let me just do this. So my top edges there are going to be the rounded ones. Okay, that's going to go on there. Okay, so again, before we do that, let's close these closures up. So I've just got, this is just some wax cord. You could use baker's twine, that works just as well, but this is just what I had to hand. So how I do it is I go along the top, or whichever one you start with, and I just put in 2 knots, okay, to keep that in place like that, and then I trim off the excess on the edge like so, and then that leaves me with just a long piece. Now let's push that. Come on, why aren't you going through? Okay, there we go. And then just pull it quite tight as it'll go, and then probably about that is about enough. So I'm just going to trim that extra bit off. So then that's going to keep that closed like so. So to put them into our album, it's up to you. I always start at the back. I never start at the front. I always start from the back going forward, for the simple reason is that when you put the next page on, they've got something to hold on to. So you need to just trim off the edges, the corners again of your, just off the top of the scored one, okay, so just at the top one, and that's where you need to put your double-sided tape. So if I can find big one. I'm going to use the, I think this is going to be too wide. No, I was going to use the 1/2 inch, but I think it's going to be too big, so I'm going to use the big 1/4 inch. And you want it so that it's near to the top as you can get it. Okay, you don't want it down right down here, down where this score line is, for the simple reason again, you don't want to be seeing the you know, the edges of your double-sided tape, because when that double-sided tape gets a little bit dirty, it can look a little bit disgusting. So yeah, so if we hide that as much as we can, then we won't have that. So work out how are you going to have your pages. Now you can have your pages where you've got the flap first and then this is second, or like what I'm going to do, I'm going to have this bit first and then the flap is going to be my back page. So let's push that in. So when you put it into your album, I just slide it in. Okay, you just need to slide it in that slot, make sure it's in that correct spot, and just ease it down. And once it's in place, you can press it on. Okay, and then that is then your first page in your book. Right, we just now need to do the photo mat that goes into the pocket in the middle of our album, and the measurements for that will be 2 7/8 by 5 3/8. Yeah, I think that's a lot better. Now I'm going to go ahead and round all of the corners on this, like so, and then pick our patterned paper. So this needs to be 2 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so that then should give us a nice border all the way round, and round all the edges on this one, and ink. And I'm only going to do one, but I was saying that, no, I'll do the 2. So this one is 5 1/4. Okay, let's go around these. Now these I would probably leave, all of them, I would leave right until that you've finished all of your book, because then you can use up all the offcuts that you have accumulated by making this album, because nowhere in the world you will have offcuts. So let's just put that one on like so. Oh, we'll get there in a minute. There we go. This is one, and then the other. Like so. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just create a little tag, a little tab pull. So you need 2 of your white cardstock and 2 of the your smaller circle punch. What have I got? There we go. And that then is 1 and 2. Let's put that on there. 1 and 2. And then we're just going to put these on here. So I'm going to just put the glue on all of the back of your circle. Work out where I'm going to have it. And then do the same with this one. All on the back. And then we're going to just sandwich them together. Like so. And then that's going to fit into our little book pocket, a little pocket like so. So when we finish, that's going to look like a really nice book.
Right, I'm going to leave it there for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up and a like if you have. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I would really appreciate it if you shared my video on your own social media. I would really appreciate it if you did. Come and follow me on Facebook, Instagram and all of those. All the links will be in the description down below. Thanks again for watching. Bye!